The Australian Ultimate League is only possible thanks to the generous support of our major partners. Bendigo Private Banking Services. Visit their website bendigoprivate.com.au to help you manage all your personal or business banking needs. Discraft. The leaders in flying discs for over 25 years. Their Ultrastar is the preferred disc of all World Championship events and the Australian Ultimate League. And Zone Ultimate Custom Sports Apparel. Check out their new range of custom warm-up jackets and pants at zoneultimate.com.
Welcome to round 2 of the Australian Ultimate League. We're here with a great game tonight between the Canberra Freeze and the Brisbane Breakers, the two top of the table teams. I'm Max Stenstrom and I'm joined in the booth by Lena Hall. Lena, give us a sense of what we're going to expect tonight from both these teams as we get a look at their rosters.
Look, Max, it's really exciting coming into round 2, having seen the teams play already, and there's things to look forward to and also things to see what they do differently against new opposition. Canberra, as we know from last time, really fantastic connections, gelled as a team, a lot of familiar players, so that really worked for them as an asset. Brisbane too, gelled really quickly. They've got a lot of experienced mixed players on the team, and that seemed to work really well for them. There was some great connections, some great quick disc movement as well.
In particular, I'm looking forward to seeing Sam McGuckin take the field for the first time in this competition. He'll be joining Sophie Taylor, who is leading the competition in goals so far. She lit it up last game, and we expect to see similar from her in this game.
And in terms of the Canberra teams as well, Hannah Monty had a cracker of the match last time. You know, Callahan, which was fantastic to see, and again, really high scoring, 4 goals.
Both of them doing really well, leading from the front.
What are going to be the main challenges that you're going to face in this game?
I think this game will be really about making sure we get our connections right. Still a relatively new team, trying to still learn what each other sort of offers, and making sure that we can sort of bring it all together at game time.
Do the other team have any weaknesses that you might try to exploit or anything like that?
I guess we're just trying to take each game as it is. So we're trying to really focus on our strengths probably more than sort of other weaknesses, and sort of use that to our best ability.
So what are some of those strengths that you want to focus on?
Well, we've got some nice height, which is nice. So trying to utilise that, and we've got a sort of a good mix of experience on the team, as well as some good speed, particularly with our female receivers. So that's some of the connections that we'll be trying to focus on.
And so what is going to be the main, if you have to give one key message to your players for this game, what would it be?
We want to really set the tone, come out hard, and really focus on a really strong defence.
All right, great. Thank you.
So we heard there from Liz DeHoog, coach of the Canberra Freeze. The focus for them, at least coming out of the gates this game, will be their defence. Both teams flipping there, and it looks like Canberra will be starting on offence, playing from the right of your screen, heading to the left.
And Max, it's lovely to see some sunshine. The last Canberra match that we watched against Perth Power, some really difficult weather to be working with, and so the players no doubt enjoying the sun streaming down on them, and it will be great to see how that impacts on the quality of play.
Nicer conditions as well, just a slight breeze will hopefully open up the field a little bit more, allow a few more adventurous throws for both these teams.
Not that Holmes and Dowell, shied away from the adventurous throws last time in the wind. Those overheads certainly were an asset for the Canberra Freeze. That
experience and that throwing prowess was a real trademark of them last game, something that distinguished the Canberra team from the Perth team. We'll see whether that's the case here. Brisbane not short on powerful and skillful throwers in their roster. We'll see whether that proves the difference this game, as Kat Smith sets to pull and gets this game underway. She launches the big backhand, and it'll land just a couple of inches outside the sideline as a brick to start the game, and Holmes will have the duties to pick that one up and kickstart this match.
Fantastic to see Kat Smith taking the pull, and a key aspect of this fantastic AUL game with 6-on-6, 3 men, 3 women, and already seeing that change.
And great pull from her, going full length of the field, went out the side of the end zone, as Holmes finds Grange in the centre of the field. She does well to hold on as that one rose on her late. Monty shoots to the end zone, but Dowell, you saw him, he just planted the left foot to come back underneath as Monty released that slight miscommunication, maybe some early match nerves that they need to get out of their system before they settle into that clean offensive rhythm that we saw from them in the last match. Nice inside break from McCallum as they work it through the hands to Smith. She opts to come near side to Taylor, who comes underneath, the goal scorer from the previous game. And now Vo to McCallum, working through all the players, all contributing as McCallum goes deep. Smith underneath it, and does it quite easily in the end. Grange not able to make up the deficit, and that's Brisbane living up to their name, breaking on the opening point.
That was a fantastic run from Kat Smith there, just timed beautifully and into space, and a really nice assist.
Yeah, Miles McCallum does well with his forehand down the line.
And that's great to see the Brisbane Breakers using their full roster of the line there, playing really quickly through the men and women and taking the options as soon as they were there.
Yeah, the first half dozen passes, no one seemed to hold the disc for more than a second or two, and they were rewarded with very easy metres through that centre of the field. They moved from far sideline to near sideline and then back again, taking whatever was given, and then opened up quite an easy kind of mid-range shot from McCallum in the end, not pushing a full-length field huck, the difficult throw, instead taking the easy options, opening up the easy shot to Kat Smith.
And we've already seen that this calmer weather, the less wind, is, making for some cleaner alternate straight away.
McNaughton will get the second point underway, the lefty, the southpaw with the big backhand pull. And that'll be fielded by Stevenson as he goes to centres to Holmes. They've got the men at the back again in this 3-3 hole. This is what we saw a lot from Canberra, the hammer over the top into plenty of space. Monty underneath it does nicely. She comes near side to Stevenson, immediately streams to the end zone. Grange is there as well, backhand out into space. Can she get there? Layout. Great effort from Caitlin Grange, can't reel that one in. And Jono Holmes opens up the field with a huge hammer straight down the guts. Canberra not wasting any time, going express to the end zone, but maybe pushing the pace just a tad there in the end. That second pass by Stevenson, maybe a little unnecessarily risky. And McNaughton brings it back in. He shoots the other way. He says, that's a great idea. And Spielman underneath that. Lefty again comes to the near side to Meehan. Doesn't want Simpson in front of her. And she'll have to look for a reset. McNaughton offers, can't get open on Holmes. Dowell can't prevent the shot to the near side to Callan Spielman. And that's a quick 2-0 to Brisbane.
Look, that was great pressure from Holmes on the dump there. Really stopped Meehan getting that off and having to look on a high count upfield, but then a Brisbane Breaker in plenty of space.
Spielman, 2 crucial cuts that point. The initial deep cut for the huck, and then a scoring move obviously at the end. Brisbane jump out to a quick 2-0 lead, and we've seen Canberra maybe just rush a couple of shots, giving away the disc cheaply. We saw Stevenson there push a backhand option that probably didn't need to be taken. There were plenty of reset options through the centre of the field. But so far, Brisbane absolutely ruthless. Clinical once they've gained possession, and they've been rewarded so far.
And once again, that really quick movement from Brisbane, not looking to put it long, but then when it came to the standstill, looking to just get it moving.
And that pull will land in as Matthews Hunter finds Liu in the centre. Who to Mangan. But looks like we've got a call and it'll come back. This is the other line from Canberra. This is their other contingent. Different set of handlers behind the disc with Liu and Matthews Hunter. And they'll bring a different style. They're not quite the big throwing power throwers of Holmes and McDowell.
So you say.
Matthews Hunter clearly heard me and had to prove me wrong as he shoots to Jez Barron. That's his first touch of the league and it's a goal. Great aerial talents from him. We'd be expecting big things from the youngster, particularly in that aerial department, and he delivers right from the go. That's a lovely grab.
Look, that was a great dump cut from Matthews Hunter, just into that pocket space, and then took full advantage looking for Jez Barron deep, who, as you say, first touch in the AUL, and it's a goal. Nice work.
Yeah, 1 from 1 in terms of goals to touches. That's a pretty good ratio any player would be happy with. Coming into this tournament, he was a bit of an unknown, but stamping his authority on this match early.
And we've got Canberra on the scoreboard, and we've also got Maya Suzuki on the line, and it's her first point for the AUL as well.
Seems like Canberra keeping the same line on the field, opting between 2 lines, not one playing O&D, simply just 2 lines sharing the duties. And Matthews Hunter will take the pulling duties with his backhand. That one goes low, but Meehan does well to hold on. And McNaughton can't, unfortunately. Simple mistake from him. 5 metres out. This is a short field turn. We saw a number of these prove crucial in the first game of this league between Canberra and Perth. We'll see how it plays out in this one. Matthews Hunter facing around.
Oh, and McNaughton, redemption, gets it back.
Yeah, he saw that coming a mile off. Just steps in front, makes it look like the pass was straight to him. Simpson out in front for Spielman.
Great run.
He has to work hard. Lovely inside out lefty backhand to Grimmond. A metre out now. He's on the doorstep. He's looking around. There's players going everywhere, but not a lot of clear options. Great defense from Liu on McNaughton. Takes that option away. And Simpson, marked by Mangan, will get the dump and reset the stall count back to Grimmond. Grimmond, very crafty thrower. We know he loves the high release backhand. That's the lefty. McNaughton rips it down despite the physical attention from Liu and then puts one out in front of Spielman.
That was great defence from the Canberra Freeze to hold that first attempt at the end zone from the Breakers. And then, as you say, Grimmond with those crafty throws, not what you'd necessarily be expecting, but certainly used it to his advantage, and that's 3-1 to the Breakers.
Canberra wasn't short on opportunities there, though. You saw Norton have to take a grab under plenty of pressure from Liu after Grimmond's backhand went a little wayward, so they'll be pleased with their defensive effort, but giving up an opportunity the way they did on the other end zone line down the other end of the field would be disappointing for them. Matthews Hunter picked it up and just simply didn't see McNaughton step in front, that poach off the handler. And that's 3-1 to Brisbane. Canberra just a couple of simple errors and Brisbane pretty clinical with the disc. That point was the first time we saw them turn the disc over.
We've got Kat Smith lining up again to take the pull for Brisbane Breakers with that fantastic backhand.
Smith recently returning from a World Ultimate Club campaign with Frisky, the mixed team out of Sydney. As Holmes finds Stevenson, the New Zealand import. He shoots the forehand down the line. He's got Grange and plenty of space.
Oh, fantastic grab from Grange there. Those hands up high, you can rely on them.
Beautifully timed cut as well, generating heaps of separation. That was the nicest offense we've seen out of Canberra so far this game.
And again, we had the 3 male handlers back looking for the women, Canberra Freeze women upfield. And as we say, Max Grange just timing that beautifully and in plenty of space in the end zone.
Stevenson able to come under, take the simple under catch and turn and immediately throw. Well, he's got that momentum. Power position, that's where you want to be. That's when you want to take the shots. And Canberra pull it back within 1. They're on defence though, so there's still plenty of work to go. They'll have to break back if they want to get back in this match.
Canberra had some fantastic blocks against Perth Power, and it would be really handy for them to utilise that right now.
Having said that, one of the greatest blocks in that match was from Abby Dawson, who's on the bench. She's riding the pine for this game, so they'll have to look for someone else to step up. It's McNaughton gets the dump from Mann. He goes through the centre. Finds its way to Grimmin, just on the brick mark to McNaughton. He's got players streaming deep, and he shoots the flat forehand down the line. And it's picked up well. That's McInnes. She goes back to the centre to Meehan. To Grimmond. To McNaughton. They're breaking the mark at will. And they find Spielman in the end zone for a goal. Too easy. Canberra Freeze just not able to establish much defensive traction at that point. Really unable to slow down Brisbane at all.
I thought there may have been a call there, Max, actually, with all that Spielman in all that space, and the Canberra Freeze looking a bit flat-footed, actually, looking around as well, as if something had happened to pick, but no call there, and Spielman takes the goal in plenty of space again for the Breakers.
That's his third for the game. He's doing incredibly well for them this match. Canberra unable to really find a matchup effective against him. Not only is he that tall and that dominant in the air, but he's got that kind of pace. It's a real defensive nightmare, a bit of a challenge for Liz DeHoog and Chris Stevens from Canberra to figure out who they're going to put on him to slow him down, prevent him from just scoring goals at will like we've seen him do.
That's right. The other feature so far from the Breakers is their use of the crossfield passes. As you mentioned, they were actually breaking the mark very easily, their namesake, we could say, but using the angles beautifully.
Canberra having been much more direct, as you say. Dow with the disc in the centre of the field for Canberra. Comes to Holmes, to Stevenson on this near side. He's unmarked. And Grange, just that one through the hands and onto the ground. Smith looks to move this quickly. Sorry, Taylor's throw a little out in space, too far in front of McCallum, and they give it back. Holmes sprints towards the disc, but cooler heads prevail, and Spragg will retrieve it. This is her first touch for the match. She's been uncharacteristically quiet as Holmes goes overhead again. Layup from Matt Dowell, and that's a goal for Canberra. He winds back the clock.
Holmes to Dowell. We've seen a few of those in the past, and great to see it happening again here in the AUL.
Yeah, it was a bit of a blast from the past there with two old Australian representative teammates reconnecting in style. Dowell having to use his full 6'4" frame, go full extension to get hold of that one. You saw Holmes' hammer hold up a little bit in the wind, maybe fall a little shorter than he would have liked, but Dowell up to the task of keeping that one safely within his hands. Canberra keep it within one.
I feel like we do need to start taking notes on how many Holmes hammers there are in the AUL, becoming a bit of a feature for Canberra Freeze.
It is indeed. It makes for great viewing for us and for all of you who are joining us at home. As Barron with that pull. Downwind, and Mann will pick it up and goes to McNaughton. So far it seems like Brisbane playing a much stricter O and D line, whereas the Canberra Freeze just having two lines that share the duties around. Looks like Canberra opting for a zone, and Meehan will shoot over the top. Barron underneath it, Dennis underneath it, Spielman underneath it, and Spielman comes down with it. And he immediately dumps to Grimmin and gets it back just on the doorstep. He comes near side for Simpson, who has to lay out. Great
and does she
grab.
hold on? Yes, she does.
Gee whiz, what a take from Simpson. Spielman made it tough for her. She was in acres of space with all the time in the world, and he forces her to go fully horizontal. But she does well. And that's Spielman getting himself again on the stat sheet with that assist after a great grab over Jez Barron. 3 goals and an assist to him. He is tearing it up.
We're seeing that Grimmins-Spielman connection really working for the Breakers through the middle. Those angles on Grimmins' throws and just getting them off straight away, and Spielman looking to capitalise.
Yeah, after that killer grab from Spielman, they look to move it very quickly through the centre, and Canberra not able to get their defence back on and slow them down. Smith again set to pull. We did see that last point, Canberra Freeze zone for the first time. This match, they played a zone to great effect in their first game. See whether they pull out that again. It's Sprague with the disc now. They've changed things up. Canberra brought Sprague behind the disc. And Stevenson, his pass a little short, and Taylor takes the easy block. Sprague having to work hard. Smith shoots immediately. Sprague, Holmes underneath it.
Oh!
Taylor lays out.
Oh!
Can't quite get there.
Wow. Fantastic commitment from Sophie Taylor there. Didn't quite get up high, Holmes coming over, but kept her eye on the disc and looking for that second option.
Holmes, immediate hammer. This guy loves the hammer and they haven't figured out a way to stop it. Grange doesn't want Sprague, instead goes to Stevenson. Canberra need to calm things down a little bit. They've been giving it up cheaply as Holmes has to leave his feet to hold on. He's got Stevenson back in the centre now. Not able to provide an easy dump. Now he gets it. Looks for the quick up line, but it doesn't come. Dow will look to provide the dump option. Stevenson has to loft one out in space, which works nicely. They're back on the brick mark now. And Stevenson shoots. It's got plenty of hang time on it, plenty of float, plenty of angle. But it will sail over the head of Hannah Monty, and into the turf. And another opportunity for Brisbane.
Canberra really being pushed back there. Brisbane doing a great job marking players upfield.
Felt like a bit of a desperation huck. As Smith breaks the mark nicely, but McGuckin can't quite elevate to get it home. Dow picks up and hammers over the top. He's got Dow on the other end of it. It's a mirror image of the previous goal for Canberra. But has he managed to keep it in? It's a bit of discussion. He was definitely falling out of the field, but were his toes just in bounds? All the Canberra players want it to be a goal.
Dal and Monty with best perspective there, calling the goal.
From about 15 yards away in the centre of the field. It's an absolute mirror image of the previous goal for Canberra when Holmes threw a hammer to Dow, who was forced to lay out. And Dow returns the favour that time, saying, "You forced me to get my shorts dirty, you're going to have to do the same." So it's a goal and an assist apiece from Matt Dow and Jono Holmes.
And that takes us to 4 for Canberra and within 1 again.
And they'll keep... and it looks like a bit of a mixed line from Canberra at this point. They sense an opportunity to break, to bring this game back onto even footing for the first time since 0-all. And Dow will play this D point and send up the pool with his big booming backhand. Whereas down the other end of the field, it looks like a regulation O-line for Brisbane. Meehan doing the pool fielding duties almost consistently. And Canberra with this arrowhead zone defence that we saw last game to great effect. Backhand to Simpson on the near side. They find a hole straight through the middle of it. To Meehan.
Jez Barron with that big mark.
This is better from Canberra. This is what they want. Force a blade over the top and a turnover.
Just a slight miscommunication there between the two Brisbane Breakers about who was going to go for it. Not a great throw, and Canberra Freeze that zone working for them this time.
And Dow immediately shoots back the other way. It's too far out in front of Suzuki. We'll see whether Freeze look to set up the same zone look again or whether they have to resort to match. McNaughton goes crossfield with the hammer to Simpson and on this near sideline. Canberra have reset the zone, but Norton runs straight through the centre and gets it back. To Grimmond, to McNaughton. Back to Grimmond. The zone forcing lots of sideways movement and not a lot of progress. This is exactly what they want to do, force a frustration shot, as we saw earlier. That kind of a bladey over-the-top look. Often leads to turns, and there you go from McInnes. She pushes one a little bit too far in front of McNaughton, and Canberra get it back. Suzuki comes near side. To Mangan. She goes back to Suzuki. Suzuki captained the Australian under-24 mixed team, the Blue Bottles. Finds Liu on this near side. He does well to keep it in. He shoots down the line to Suzuki. She's got space, but that disc too far out in front. Too much edge on it. No float at all.
That's twice Suzuki has run deep looking for those shots, but they've just gone a bit too far for her.
McNaughton swings to Spielman. This arrowhead zone starting to establish itself. Taking away those options through the centre, forcing stuff to the sideline, passes to the sideline. To Spielman. McNaughton wants up line, but they centre back to Meehan in the middle. To Grimmond. To Spielman. To Grimmond. To McNaughton. It seems like this back four doing a lot of the work. With McNaughton, Grimmond, Spielman and Meehan. As Grimmond finds it. Looks like Canberra has transitioned to a match defence. Now as Liu has the task of matching up on McNaughton. He comes near side to Simpson. She's got Spielman, and Spielman in and out of his right hand. He can't hold on. Simple bobble, that pass maybe a little bit behind him, not quite where he would have wanted it. And Dow picks up. He centres to Suzuki. She is cut out by an incredible layout from John McNaughton. What a defensive play from him.
Just reads the play so well, McNaughton. Saw that coming. He wasn't getting by him.
Years of ultimate experience pay off there. He's just able to get the jump on everybody else as that shot goes straight down the line to Grimmond, and he hop it in, not quite 1 foot behind, but he finds Simpson in the end. And that was a bit of a grinder, a bit of a dogfight, but Brisbane come out on top as Grimmond finds Simpson in the end zone.
That Canberra arrowhead zone, as we're saying, really establishing itself there and pushing the Brisbane Breakers back, forcing them to make lots of passes. Transition to match worked pretty well for a while there. They got a turn from that but couldn't hold on.
Defensively, I think Canberra will be happy with that look. You know, they brought out something new. It got them a bunch of turnovers, but still their offense just giving the disc up a little too cheaply. Maybe a little too willing to go for that big shot. A couple of deep shots there to Suzuki that were just well overthrown. She got separation, but the throws were just way too far out in front. Really squandering some great opportunities to get a break back. McGuckin will take the pulling duties for this point for Brisbane, as both teams put fresh legs out on the field after that long grinder. That disc will sail out of bounds for a brick. And Holmes will bring it back up.
Got Matthews Hunter on the line with Holmes this time.
Another one of these mixed lines as Holmes immediately goes over the top again to Spragg. It's been interesting to see Spragg spend a little bit more time downfield than we usually expect. Shot from Monty to space. Stevenson was there, but over his head he was marked closely by McGuckin. Not a lot of separation that Monty was throwing to there.
No, and again, Max, we've seen Canberra Freeze perhaps just pushing those long shots a bit when not really on and giving up the disc.
Maybe she backed Stevenson, thought the height mismatch was to their advantage, but really not a high percentage option. Smith goes the other way. Holmes in pursuit.
Oh!
Taken nicely by Miles McCallum. Over the top of Holmes. That doesn't happen often. And McCallum backhand to Vo. And that's half. 7-4 to Brisbane. They break to extend their lead further to 3. Just a dominant performance from Brisbane all half long. They've just been the more clinical of the two teams. They value the disc and they're rewarded on the scoreboard.
Look, that was a great grab from McCallum in the air then, and then to be absolutely calm and just put that beautiful backhand out into space across the field to Vo was a really nice finish.
And that's those angles that we were talking about earlier, Lena. Brisbane much more willing to go cross field to open up the width, because it feels like Canberra's only focused on booming it straight down the centre of the field, or the overheads from Holmes and Dow. Maybe just a little predictable. And it shows on the scoreboard with Brisbane jumping out to a 7-4 lead.
So Canberra's really going to have to just take a breath here. They need to value the disc more. They've put those shots up, they haven't come off for them, and they need to just bring it back to basics, hold on to that disc and get back in the game.
I just want to talk about Callum Spielman because 3 goals and 1 assist. Oh my gosh, what a game. He came out and scored 3 of the first 4 goals for Brisbane. Completely unguardable in the end zone. But not only is Spielman contributing for Brisbane, but we've seen Dom Simpson get a couple of goals, Miles McCallum throw a couple as well, and obviously John McNaughton also getting a couple of lovely forehand hucks that turned into goals as well for Brisbane. So they've been sharing the love a bit. Generally speaking though, the men doing a lot of work for them, whereas maybe Canberra doing a bit more with their women.
Yeah, I think early on Brisbane was really using their full roster very effectively. Quick movement through between the men and the women up the field. It feels like towards the end of that half, it sort of reverted a bit to the men taking those quick shots, looking for each other. And while you had some of the female handlers like Kat Smith and Meehan really, forming a foundation role at the back, you didn't have that sort of movement through the centre of the women as much.
Yeah, Canberra on the other side though, feels like they were consistently looking for them. They did have the men behind the disc most of the time and the women downfield, but generally speaking, looking for those women through the centre of the field. Sprague getting involved towards the end of that half quite a lot. Saw Monty as well contributing a little bit as well. So it'll be a question of which team's able to, I think, use their roster fully. Both teams look better, I think, when they're using more of their players and just taking the first shot available rather than, looking for old friends or looking back to those kind of traditional partnerships altogether.
That's right, and I mean, you're obviously going to have connections within the teams, people who've played with each other before. So this is one of the things of the AUL, is that these are new teams, and so they're going to change as through the course of the season and the games with each other before. So this is one of the things of the AUL, is that these are new teams, and so they're going to change as through the course of the season and the games.
They're still developing that chemistry, as you say. This is only the second game that they've ever played together. This is the second time that Matt Dow and Adelaide Dennis have ever run down chasing a pool together for Canberra to kick the second half off. And McNaughton will pick it up and he'll send it to Grimmond. So with McNaughton, Grimmond and Meehan behind the disc, this is the regular-looking Brisbane O-line. And Canberra Freeze back to match. Lovely defence by Liu, not letting McNaughton get free at all, making him work very hard for that. If they can continue to play that kind of defence on Brisbane, you think Freeze will be rewarded. As Grimmond goes up line nicely. He's marked by Barron. Grimmond, there have been rumours that he's been harbouring a little bit of an abdominal injury, but he doesn't appear to be slowed down at all as Spielman gets it on this near side, generating some nice metres for them. Spielman marked by Dowell downfield. That'll be a good matchup to watch as Meehan with the disc fakes the blade. She loves that forehand blade. She goes backhand up the line to Spielman, back to McNaughton. He surveys the field, doesn't want Grimmond underneath. Now he finds him. Man coming all the way around for the scuba from Grimmond. We know he loves the cheeky overheads and the offhand shots. As man comes near side to McNaughton. He's in the centre of the field. Forehand, out in space. It's pursued. And it is taken beautifully by Liam Grimmond. Simpson and Grimmond were in pursuit, but she pulled up, said, Grimmond, you can have it. Don't worry. You can get the stat. I've already got a couple. Shares the love around.
Great communication from the Breakers there to realise that. And a lovely throw from McNaughton.
Beautiful lefty forehand from him. In his signature style, just not a really wide pivot, simply drops down, snaps to the wrist, and floats that forehand into space on that break side of the field. The defenders never really had a look at that. There's only one team that was ever going to come down with that one. And Brisbane out of the half strong.
Look, I really like that matchup between Liu and McNaughton there. Liu did a great job on the dump. Footwork from both of them, fantastic to watch, and that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
It's interesting that Canberra had gone back to their match look there. They were successful getting a number of turns with their zone towards the end of the first half. Maybe feeling coming out of half-time the energy a little flat, playing some match will get the legs moving again. But both teams, but Canberra in particular, feeling like the energy's a little flat from them as that pull goes out of bounds and Holmes will bring it in. Looks like Canberra setting up with a side stack. Giving plenty of space for one cut up out in the centre of the field. That's Stevenson who comes underneath, and that one goes inside to Mangan, but it's just in and out of the hands. She can't hold on. Gives that one up cheaply. Matthews Hunter marking Vo. Barramundi on Barramundi. Great matchup. McCallum goes up line. Switch there from Canberra. We've seen a couple of teams enjoy those kind of switches. And what a
hammer from Brisbane there.
Incredible shot to Miles McCallum. Caught totally unawares. Canberra caught looking a little silly in the end, but a lovely throw. We saw Canberra opt for the gender mismatch defence. A lot of teams looking to do that in this league, recognising that sometimes it's just better to put your closest player on someone. It doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman. It's more important about getting a force on or getting a defensive structure in place. And we saw there that was the plan. Obviously, Hammer's very difficult to stop on the mark.
That's right, especially a beautiful hammer like that. Look, there was some great communication from Canberra on the defence there. Some nice switching happening. But as you say, Max, that hammer from Brisbane really just opening up the field.
We spoke about the throwing prowess that Brisbane bring that maybe some other teams in this league don't bring. We've seen it on display here. We've seen hammers from Brisbane. We've seen hucks. We've seen a number of different pullers. It's not just one or two really strong throwers in this team. It's a whole number of them. And that makes them such a threat and so difficult to slow down. As that pull also sails out of bounds and will be a brick. It looks like Jono Holmes will bring it in. Eventually. And he'll be marked by Grant. And he goes hammer over the top. He loves that look. Stevenson comes near side to Matthews Hunter. He comes underneath to Mangan. She goes far side to Spragg. Good to see Spragg back in that handling space, maybe where she's slightly more comfortable. Stevenson goes down line to Mangan, 2 metres out. She's injected herself into the game. This point, high backhand into the stack. Plenty of people underneath it. The 6'5" Troy Stevenson snags it, says, "This is my specialty."
Hardly has to jump there in the end. Just holds his space and puts his arm up.
When you're that tall, that's sometimes all you need to do. But look, that's an interesting shot choice from Hannah Mangan. I'm not sure if I'd say it's a great option, but it's certainly effective that time. She sees Stevenson with a shorter matchup on him and simply says, if I put this above you, you're going to come down with it 9 times out of 10, as he does right there. And that's big for Canberra. They stopped the 4-point run from Brisbane, but they've still got a big deficit to make up.
Look, I'd really like to see Canberra come down in a ferocious D on this one. They need to get this point if they want to get back in the game.
We're yet to see Canberra break Brisbane this match. They've got plenty of turns, but not able to convert them into goals and runs on the board. It's a pull from Dow. Smith goes up line, but the pass doesn't come. And that forehand a little bit behind the intended receiver, blocked by Dow. Monty with the disc to Suzuki. She shoots to the end zone. So we talked about how clinical Brisbane have been all game, but this point seems to be another case entirely.
Great grab there.
Sophie Taylor and then bobbles through the hands of Siegman. Back to McCallum. Can he inject some calm, some cool, some collectedness into this Brisbane offense? Finds Grimmond. About 8 metres out now. He goes forehand, 2-on-1 situation. But Thomas Bow comes down with it despite Liu and Suzuki being right on his hip. And that's a beautiful goal from Brisbane. Not their clinical play, not their high percentage options that we've seen from them all match, but it's certainly highlight material. As Thomas Bow puts himself on the stat sheet.
Look, at that point we had a few intercepts from both teams there, a bit of change of momentum, but Brisbane then able to regroup and Vo come down with that fantastic grab in the end zone under pressure.
I want to shout out Sophie Taylor in particular. Took a great grab under pressure on this near sideline for a big gainer. She was marked closely, but just shows her class. Snags it one-handed. And Brisbane all of a sudden with a 5-point lead. And Canberra with all the work to do. Home centres to Matthews Hunter. Here's Mangan coming across the centre of the field. So it goes Stevenson on that far side. He shoots the forehand. He's been very willing to shoot all game long. And just Mangan slightly misreads that. Comes underneath it as it sails over her head. It's a nice looking shot. She had plenty of separation, using her pace and power to get free from Ash McInnes, but unable to reel that pass in from Troy Stevenson. Brisbane will have to go the full 70 yards later as McNaughton picks it back up. Really do it in one pass. Instead, centres to Meehan, forced to lose some ground into the end zone, marked by Spragg. 2 Ellipsis teammates. It's Grimmond, marked by Holmes.
Just out of reach of Spielman there. And Canberra has it, not far out of the end zone again. Can they capitalise?
Spragg picks it up this time. She goes inside break, and McNaughton plucks it out again. And then hucks it straight into Holmes. Both of the old wily men on this field right now, reading the play, getting some intercept blocks. And
that is a massive layout there.
From Ash McInnes on Hannah Mangan. What a block. Would have expected Hannah Mangan to be the one going horizontal this match coming into it, but Ash McInnes shows she can do it too. One hell of a play. And now Grimmond has the disc. Brisbane having to dump and reset and work hard to really generate anything. McNaughton comes underneath and gets it on that far sideline. He goes hammer over the top to Grimmond. There's players streaming deep. Spielman there. Stevenson underneath it. The big 6'5" Stevenson does enough.
I thought that was going to come down into Spielman's hands then. But
yeah, that second effort almost looked like it was going to happen.
Look, a lovely pass from McNaughton. Then great touch on that disc to release it low and get it to sit up there for the chance.
Matthews Hunter brings it back in. Looks to centre to Holmes, who can't get open. He goes down line, looking for Holmes, but too far out in front. That's a difficult shot straight down the line. And Holmes shakes his head a little bit as he walks off. And Meehan picks it up, marked by Spragg. High release backhand back into the centre of the field.
Holmes! Fantastic D from Holmes there.
Plucks it from above Liam Grimmond like an apple off a tree. Stevenson and then shoots to Matthews Hunter on the near sideline. This is a comedy of errors right now. Both teams making simple execution mistakes, drops and missed throws. This game was clinical, but it is now a total scrap fest.
combined with some pretty impressive Ds.
Oh, no doubt. They're definitely up to the defensive intensity. The offensive quality just hasn't risen to match quite yet. Spielman. Brisbane doing well to use the full width of the field. To Grimman now. Back to Spielman in the centre. Oh! Block from Troy Stevenson! When you're 6'5", 201 centimetres, Holmes will throw you a hammer every day of the week.
Oh no!
But Spielman gets the best of Stevenson this time. That's a matchup that's been providing some highlight moments for us. And it does again there with Spielman getting the block, maybe a bit of a rush of blood to the head from Holmes. Got excited about the block and threw the hammer without wasting any time. Now Meehan finds McInnes underneath to get things moving for Brisbane. She'll go back to McNaughton in the centre. Comes near side. Big shot from Simpson. Backhand. And straight into the path of Jono Holmes. Brimman and Meehan in the vicinity, but it's only ever going to be Holmes with that disc. Goes to Sprague. To Matthews Hunter. She goes back to Sprague. She has to work. She goes lays out, but can't hold on. Can't quite get there. Too far out in front. The wind's not that strong, but players really struggling to connect with their passes. But in the end, Brisbane finds Dom Simpson and she pounds her chest. Because she recognises when a point is that long, getting it done is such a big momentum shifting moment. And that's 5-11 to Brisbane.
Great grab from Simpson there. The shot went up so quickly from the sideline there, and I have to admit, I thought, here we go again. Another punt to the end zone, but Simpson read it beautifully, came down with it, taking it to 5-11 for Brisbane.
And that's a timeout call from Canberra. And fair enough too. Games to 13, so Brisbane just a couple of points away. Canberra with a mountain of work ahead of them.
Look, that point, certainly, we had a lift in intensity there. Some amazing Ds, some fantastic layouts as well, some great intercepts and, really a highlights package in that in some ways for both some not so great ultimate and some fantastic ultimate. So we've just had a timeout. As you say, Max, game to 13, Brisbane on the doorstep really, if they can keep their composure and keep using the full width of the field as they have been. And again, great to see the women getting involved in that midfield range again in that last point. Then I think they're getting pretty close.
They're definitely in the driver's seat, that's for certain. But as the last point demonstrates only too clearly, they're capable of generating plenty of turns on this Brisbane team. They just haven't been able to convert those turns into possessions that are able to progress them down the field and into goals. As Cat Smith sends another pull down the field. And Dow in the centre now. To Liu. Suzuki working hard in that underneath space, can't provide much. There's Taylor playing a floating role, marking whatever comes into that space. Suzuki now with the disc. She looks central, can't find Liu. Instead looks back upfield, back to Liu. He gets it, but they have to give up some ground to maintain this possession. Brisbane match defense right in the pockets of their Canberra players. Stevenson, Dow that was, to Liu, to Suzuki. They go crossfield, back to the centre to Liu. Really not generating many metres, Canberra, for a lot of work. So they find Dow. Finds Monty on this near side. She shoots a forehand down the line. Plenty of players underneath it. Another rushed shot that really wasn't on. McCallum looks to Smith and she bobbles that one into the ground. Not a great pass from McCallum. A little bit behind her. And Dow picks up maybe about 12 metres out. He's got Barrett in the centre of the end zone, but he doesn't want to throw it to him. Liu goes up line. Dow with the backhand. And Thomas Vo gets a hand on it. Does enough.
Brisbane doing a great job on that match D. They're really making it hard for the Canberra players to get free.
McCallum picks it back up. He's marked by Barron. Big backhand, high release, trying to go across the centre of the field, but will turn it over cheaply. Dow picks it up, wants to make it quick. Barron goes to the far sideline. Dow can't break the mark. He goes backhand to this open side again. Pops up, second effort. Hannah Mangan gets a hand on it both times. Adelaide Dennis, sorry. Gets a hand on it both times and goes to ground, but she can't hold on. She's had a quiet one this game, surprisingly. Has to mark Vo now. 2 speedsters. Great grab from McGuckin as he goes to turf. He's marked by Dow. 2 big frames. 2 big throwers. And Brisbane working across the width as we've seen them do so many times to great effect. Here comes central bid from Matt Dow. He goes sideways as well. McGuckin shoots to the end zone, arcing forehand. Out in front of Kat Smith. She can't reel that one in. And maybe the wind's starting to come into play. Maybe it's the fatigue. A lot of shots that just a little bit past their mark on both sides.
The Canberra are really going to have to work hard upfield here to get free under. That Brisbane defence was very effective. Sophie Taylor down this end of the field playing that floaty D, picking up the undercuts and making it really hard.
As Canberra move it quickly through the centre, back to Dow on that far side. Suzuki looks to provide an option. She can't. Dennis comes into that underneath space to Dow, providing the dump. Bobbles, right hand, left hand, and out the sideline. Kat Smith indicates my disc. About 10 metres out. I feel if they put this one in the end zone for a goal, it's all but done for Canberra. She's marked by Dennis. Smith comes back towards the centre. McGuckin down the guts to McCallum. He goes forehand to that far side to a wide open Sam McGuckin, catches Matt Dow napping. And that is 12-5 to Brisbane. McGuckin just takes that one powerful step to that sideline and Dow can't keep up.
Brisbane Breakers really using their bodies well to play in space and to make yards. Canberra just not being able to get free under upfield there, and then just getting caught a little bit flat-footed on the D there, and Brisbane taking full advantage of that.
Canberra's heads definitely started to drop a little bit. You can see that their energy levels are fading. And credit to Brisbane, their shutdown defence is so demoralising on Canberra. You've seen the effect of that. Suzuki having to work so hard and unable to really provide much in that underspace at that point.
Brisbane doing really well knowing where they wanted to direct the play on D.
And McNaughton with that big lefty backhand for the pull. It will come back in. Fielded by Matthews Hunter. Centres to Holmes. Goes far side to Stevenson. We've seen that shot so many times. He loves that forehand hook. Instead he goes back towards the centre to Holmes, who's still working hard. He has Grange, doesn't want it. Comes near side to Matthews Hunter. He shoots a forehand down the middle to Mangan. She goes to Grange. Working nicely now, Canberra. Goes back to Holmes and just a little far out in front. Bobbles out of the fingertips. And they give it up cheaply again. Not a lot of pressure on that. Canberra's moving it nicely. And even that final pass, not a heap of pressure on it, but just slightly off. The wind maybe becoming involved just a tad. And it's really been the story of this match. Cheap turnovers. And McNaughton shoots the forehand into heaps of space. Holmes does well to put a hand on it, but it was probably going out the sideline regardless. And you see the wind really coming into play, getting underneath that disc, pushing it up and wide. And Holmes will pick it up and bring it back into play and get things moving again. He finds Mangan in the centre. She looks back to Holmes. She has Grange open up field. Instead goes to Matthews Hunter backwards. He fakes the big flick. Instead, goes underneath. Back to Mangan. Those two connecting well. And a big layup. But Stevenson holds on and looks to take advantage of the player on the ground. Comes to Matthews Hunter, who hops it in.
Beautiful pass by Kim Spragg then, using the angle completely to her advantage. Saw Matthews Hunter coming from behind, going up into that space towards the end zone, and just put it right out in front. Matthews Hunter able just to jump neatly into the end zone for a score.
He did have Grange there backing him up, expecting the next pass, but he didn't need to pass it. 6-2. Canberra still able to get points on the board, but it's been a while between drinks for them. This back half of the game has been all Brisbane. Brisbane jumped out to a quick 2-0 lead at the start of the game, then they traded to 6-4. And then they went on a bit of a run to take it to 9-5, and now we're at 12-6. Brisbane just more consistently able to play good possession offense.
Be great to see Canberra come down with a D here. Hasn't really gone their way this game so much. We saw in their first game against Perth Power they had some fantastic blocks and Ds. Be nice to see if towards the back end of this game they could bring some of that intensity again.
Well, when you see Matt Dowell hang his head after that pull, he knows that one's not coming back in. Immediately points at the sideline where it went out. Bit of a wry smile on his face, I'm sure. Not a great pull from Matt Dowell. Canberra will have to make their last defensive stand from about half field. Not where you want to be, as Kat Smith will bring this one in.
Nothing like a challenge, Max.
She's marked by Maya Suzuki. This is their first match for the league, as we mentioned at the start. We expected her to inject a bit of energy and a bit of grit into this team. And she has, but she's got her task cut out for her here against Kat Smith. Smith goes up line to Vo. He's marked by Liu. He goes crossfield. Acres of space. Too far out in front. Can't be chased down by O'Neill. Sails out the far side.
Haven't seen a huge amount from O'Neill in this match. I've seen her a bit more at the last few points, and so it'd be good to see if she could come down with something.
Dow centres to Liu. He goes to Monty. Monty finds Suzuki in traffic. Dishes back to Monty. Liu underneath, tightly guarded by Vo. Brisbane really in the pockets of their players. Great defence all round. Barron puts it out nice in front of Dow to run onto. Dow will shoot the forehand, but it's low and it's into the turf. Dennis was there in space, but the throw not up to the task. The wind forcing that one to the ground. And Brisbane will have to take it back 65 yards if they want to wrap this one up. It does appear the disc rolled out the sideline before it rolled back in, so that's where Smith will take it from. She's marked by Monty. She'll shoot the backhand down the line. Been expecting to see that all game long, but now it comes, but it's plucked out well by Dow. Liu finds Monty. She's got Liu in the centre. Looks at him, looks back upfield. There's not a lot developing. Has to go to Suzuki. She does well to hold on. Got a lot of players streaming into that near corner. Everyone wants a piece of it. But crossfield, Dow bids, but it accelerates away from him and it's well out the far side.
Look, that is not a bad look at this stage in the game. You're wanting to try and get those passes off. There's some zing on that for sure. Dow just not quite able to get his hands to it.
You're right, when you've got a big deficit to make up, you really just have to take your shots. When you see an opportunity, you can't hesitate. And Suzuki didn't there. Smith thinks about his backhand. Barron smacks that one away. And you can see what this crosswind is doing there. That gives you a sense for how strong it is. He knocks that one away and it immediately flies back across the field. So this is the downwind side. And it will be picked up by Dow. See whether Canberra can capitalise on this great position. They're a metre out. Centres, or tries to centre to Liu and can't complete that. And Vo picks up and immediately shoots long. He's got McCallum underneath it. And that's the goal. And that's the game.
Wow.
What a way to finish for Brisbane. Almost full field huck from Thomas Vo. The wind really picking up towards the back end of that game, making it scrappy. But it wasn't short on highlight plays.
Canberra just not able to convert when they were just outside of their end zone. Then Max, as you say, that wind really coming into play, pushing the disc down across the field there, making it really difficult. But Brisbane, again, just picking it up and capitalising straight away, which is what they've done throughout the match, really. They've just looked to be the more dynamic team.
More dynamic, safer with the disc, and more consistent across the board. Less of those silly mistakes that we saw creep into Canberra's game pretty early on, to be honest. So full credit to them in what was worsening conditions. It started off as a sunny, beautiful day with just a very faint breeze, but it's really picked up towards the back end of the game. And Brisbane's class shone through in the end, so credit to them. They come away the winners in this one, and they secure themselves a spot on top of the table. 2 from 2 for Brisbane, 1 and 1 for Canberra. I've been Max Stenstrom. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Elena Hall. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
The Australian Ultimate League is only possible thanks to the generous support of our major partners. Bendigo Private Banking Services. Visit their website bendigoprivate.com.au to help you manage all your personal or business banking needs. Discraft. The leaders in flying discs for over 25 years. Their Ultrastar is the preferred disc of all World Championship events and the Australian Ultimate League. And Zone Ultimate Custom Sports Apparel. Check out their new range of custom warm-up jackets and pants at zoneultimate.com.